All right, again, everyone, thank you for joining us. Today we do have Chris McGarry with us and Gabriella Cameron, so they're going to go ahead and take over. I am going to mute you guys. If you have questions, either type them in or just give it a second. We will get to a portion where you guys can ask questions.
The conference has been muted.
Okay. Hey everybody, Chris McGarry, Vice President of Marketing. I'm sure we've all met along the way between discovery days and maybe training and that kind of thing. I wanted to jump in on this call because reviews are so important. I want to be as efficient as I can with your time, so kind of short, candid feedback here. What I can tell you is at the top of the house here, we are unequivocally sort of entering the peak. To give you an idea, week over week pay-per-click spend has doubled Monday to Monday, previous Monday, and I anticipate this coming Monday to be even higher. In response, we have been doing some testing on the regional campaigns with the platform Nextdoor and had some really good results with leads. We're going to be launching a Nextdoor campaign on your behalf. And as we're going into this peak, we've got an opportunity to do a pay-per-call campaign, which we're going to be launching, and then in certain markets we're actually looking at possibly adding in some additional direct mail. And so depending on, that's a function of how we're doing relative to, like, let's say Facebook and display and what that velocity is there in the lead volume. And then finally, in that we're in this peak, I'll touch on it on the second half here, is we've shipped out 100 signs, lawn care signs, to every single franchisee. And this again is because we're entering that power window, and this is a vital time for us to be completely dialed in and sort of hitting on all cylinders. I know there's a lot going on, and I know you're being pulled in a lot of directions, and you got a lot of work to do and all that. But hang with me, please. Kind of stay focused through this. It's really important. This one's mission critical. What I would tell you is, I have the benefit of working with, over the years, literally hundreds of franchisees and, through their business launch. And one of the things I've always been fascinated by is things like correlation analysis. And I'm really interested in like pattern recognition. And really at the end of the day, what do our most successful franchisees have in common? And what I've learned is that online reviews is something that our most successful franchisees have in common. And that is because all roads lead back to the review. And you may be thinking, what's he talking about? How is that possible? But it really does. So much of what happens online, and these reviews are so incredibly visible online. Of all the ground game tactics that we do, this one is the most important. So if you think about it, 20 years ago, if you needed a plumber or an electrician or a lawn care provider, you went into your pantry and you got the yellow pages out. And you thumbed through those yellow pages until you found the section you needed, and then you started calling. In those yellow pages, there were no reviews. It's just not there, right? Today, when you need a plumber, an electrician, or lawn care, you go on Google and you search. And what comes up smack dab in the middle of the page is called the Google 3-pack. And you can see it there. This slide that's up is a Google search, and it's sort of stacked left and right. And so you've got the pay-per-click on top, you got the 3-pack, down below it labeled, and then we've sort of put the SEO off to the right. It would be below the 3-pack. That 3-pack, is showing up in the best real estate there is, right? And really, what happens here is the psychology for the consumer is they don't really view that as advertising, because it's kind of not. It's just Google trying to be really efficient and give you some really concise information. If we want to get to show up above in the pay-per-click, it costs us between $50 and $75, $85 even in some cases per lead. To show up in the 3-pack is free, okay? And so we need to make sure we're showing up there. The way we do that is online reviews. So, and this is not the only thing that is impacted by your online reviews. I'll take you through sort of a laundry list here. Just as I said here, the 3-pack is its own unique source of leads, and it's right there in the middle of the page. Getting in there, like I say, requires just two things. It's proximity, and it's how many reviews you have and what your rating is, right? We can't necessarily control your proximity. Kind of hard to do, right? What we can control is those reviews, and so we have to do that. Your reviews impact everything. They impact not just that you get clicked on in it's called a GMB lead when it comes from here, and we can track that through Google Analytics. but it impacts everything else you do. It impacts your conversion rate. The consumer sees it, and they might click on the pay-per-click. They might click on the SEO. They may just give you a call. But they, in the back of their mind, they know what your reviews are, right? And so it impacts the conversion rate of your pay-per-click, which is right above it. 60% of the money we spend on your behalf is on pay-per-click. So we need to make sure that conversion rate is as high as it can possibly be. Next, over there on the right, you have the SEO, right? That's your organic ranking, right? A lot of consumers are very interested in that because they say to themselves, if they rank high here, they must be good, right? They must be credible. And they say the best place to hide a dead body is on page 2 of the Google results. We got to get you right below that 3-pack in the SEO. Well, your reviews don't just affect how you show up in the 3-pack. Your reviews also affect your SEO. They affect where your local website shows up in organic search results. And so we got to get you in there. They really affect the conversion rate of all of your traffic, right? So when I say conversion rate, I mean how many people that visit your site actually turn into leads, and that's vitally important. We pay a lot of money to get them to your site or the homepage. We need them to convert. So we're talking about your everything, your display advertising, your Facebook, your direct mail, you name it. Whatever tactic we're talking about, it matters. The next thing I would tell you is, let's take a step back and think about the sales cycle here. Imagine you're talking to a customer or someone in the call center is talking to a prospect. We need for you to be able to say to that person, or the call center to be able to say to that person, hey, don't take my word for it. Please go check out my reviews. That's a powerful, powerful statement, okay? And so, again, this affects every piece of your media, and it affects what we can position and say to that customer both online and verbally. If you really take a step back and think about it, as you grow this business, it's going to affect your employees, right? It's going to affect how they think and how they behave, the amount of pride they carry with them, and it's going to create a self-fulfilling prophecy for you and for the entire team, all right? Let's go back even further, right? You've purchased this business, you're building it up. Someday, you're going to have an exit strategy. Someday, you're going to say to yourself, okay, I'm either going to sell this business to somebody or I'm going to pass it on to a family member. Well, let's go with that first scenario. This affects the economic value of this company, of your individual franchise. Would you rather buy a business that has like 2 reviews and like 3.5 stars? What would you be willing to pay versus a business that has 150 and 4.9 stars, right? And so it affects even that, right? There are consumers out there who go out and look for service providers, and their mantra, their approach, what they do, they unequivocally will not use anybody but the highest rated review business out there, right? And so we need to attract those customers as well. And then finally, what I would tell you is if you think about it, we're going to go down this road and sooner or later we're going to get a bad review. It's just going to happen, right? Nobody's perfect. You might have a customer that's confused or misunderstands, or maybe we just make a mistake. It's going to happen, right? Well, interestingly, if you've got a lot of great reviews, let's say you've got 25, 35, 45, and you have a 4.9 rating, it actually discourages that person when they come that's, mad and angry. Not all of them. Trust me, there's some people who are just not going to, sway. But it's actually a deterrent for folks that want to leave negative reviews because they look, I guess maybe this, I don't know, I don't want to be the one guy that looks like a jerk, and they don't do it, right? And so that's a subtle one, but it's out there, right? Next, here's what I would tell you. Here's the way I want you to think about this. Having 20 reviews and 4.9 stars is the equivalent of spending $10,000 a year on marketing, right? I'll be honest. I'm making this number up, but I don't think I'm far off at all, right? It really is. We're paying a lot of money to show up in pay-per-click right above it, and right there below it, it's free. We just got to go out and get those reviews because it's going to help conversion rate, it's going to help sales, it's going to get us GMB leads, all those things. We have a franchisee in a previous class that went out and he got 20 reviews in the morning, like before lunch, right? So, so you're saying, well, Chris, how the heck do you do that? That doesn't sound plausible. He went to his BNI meeting and he asked everybody in the BNI group to leave him a review, and it was as simple as that, right? So I just said, having 20 reviews of 4.9 stars is the equivalent of $10,000 in marketing. If I told you you could make $10,000 for a half a day's work and like it was legal and you didn't have to kill anybody, like you would do it, right? And so we have to do that, right? Okay. So let's look at this through another lens. It's like, why don't people necessarily go out and ask for reviews? I get it. There's a certain piece of it that may be a little uncomfortable, right? I'm asking this person, am I putting them out? I'm asking for a favor. You have to put that aside, and you have to work on your pitch. And your pitch doesn't need to be more than 2 sentences. It really doesn't. The other thing I'd tell you is the audience that's most sort of ripe for you to ask for reviews is your friends and your families, not necessarily your customers. It doesn't have to be, right? And now you're saying to yourself, well, that doesn't necessarily feel right. Am I asking them to lie? No, what I'm suggesting you do is when you talk to this group, you're not asking them to review the service. So let's say you have a friend or a family member or someone that you know, whatever, and when you ask them, don't ask them to review the service. Don't ask them to lie. Ask them to review you. Ask them to talk about your character and who you are and how you conduct yourself. That's totally legit. You can do that. This is where your sphere of influence comes in. Imagine, for those of you that are married, I would tell you that everyone you invited to your wedding is someone that you could and should be asking for a review. People get it, right? You've made this big commitment, this big steps to start this business, and they feel for you, and they'll do it, right? If you were going to invite them to your wedding, then and if you're not married, just think about who you would invite, and those are the folks you want to go out and ask. So let's see. What I would tell you is, right now we've got a lot of folks that I think we can pull a slide up. Actually, we've got a lot of folks that don't have many reviews, and this is bad, right? I have the utmost respect for everybody on this call, right? You have tremendous courage. You believe in yourself. You took this incredible step. You left your job. You invested a big piece of your savings in this business, and in yourself, right? You can't do that and not do this. I won't let you, right? These reviews are that important, right? This is so vital to your business. I want us to get started on this right away. We have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If someone in the previous class can pull it off in a half a day, then in 3 days we can get to 20. And it's all about your sphere of influence, right? It's all about your family, your neighbors, and those folks. So you need to talk to them. Think about it. You may belong to a Facebook group. Those are folks you can connect with. You may belong to the PTA. Those are folks you can speak to about it. You may belong to your church, right? Those are folks that you can connect with. Your BNI. Those are all individuals you can connect with, right? I sincerely need you to essentially sort of drop everything you're doing this weekend, today on through, and go to work on this, right? And get this to where it needs to be. Again, you're not asking them to review the service. You're asking them to review you, your character, who you are, and what they like and trust about you. So maybe that's a good place for a quick break. So you want to do the questions there, or do you want me to do the slides?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do questions.
The conference has been unmuted.
Unmute you guys, so if you have any questions, feel free to jump in now. I'll go ahead and let you guys take it away. Any questions?
Does this all make sense? Does anyone not believe me, or anyone skeptical, or anyone feel like they need extra help, or me to explain something more? It's okay.
Speak now or forever hold your peace, guys. Just kidding. We will always answer questions outside of the webinar.
Do you guys feel comfortable with setting a goal for let's try to get to 20 as quickly as we can? I'd love to get to 10 this weekend. I'd love to get 20 this weekend.
And Amy, I see your hand is raised, if that's intentional. Do you have a question? Or maybe a statement?
Oh, she's right there. She wrote it.
Okay, Amy, is there a negative to getting them all at one time?
Great question. On Google, no. Oh, well, let me be careful. Your really savvy customer might see that they all came in at once and sort of put 2 and 2 together. Please don't let that dissuade you. Let's keep going. On Yelp, if you got this many this fast, Yelp would filter a bunch of them out and throw them away on you, and it'd be lost. Google reviews are way more important than Yelp's. We're going to want to get Yelp down the road, but Google will not penalize you for getting a bunch right away. So you're fine there. Good question.
Great question, Amy. Anyone else maybe have any questions or concerns? We're happy to answer them now.
Does everyone share my enthusiasm and level of intensity on this? Are we all good, guys? You know, are you in?
Yeah, well, man. Hey, this is Tommy down in Texas. Chris,
Tommy.
thanks for doing this. Honestly, I was waiting for the service reviews and really didn't even think about the approach that you've explained to today. So, you know, I'm going to get on it.
Yeah.
Great,
cool.
great to hear. And Amy says yes on the chat, so we
Give me an amen.
get a little bit of excitement.
Yeah. I'll tell you something, guys. You know, I love talking with small business owners. Like I talk to my local mechanic. I talk to my dentist. Heck, I was on the phone. My wife just went on a little trip with her girlfriends, and I called the florist. I sent flowers to her hotel, and I did a search, and the way I picked the person with the best reviews. That's who, who I chose, and then I ended up talking with that person, right? About their business, about their marketing, and so I talked to all these. I love engaging, talking to folks about this because it's an opportunity to learn. And anyway, the place I always go to with these folks, the first thing, like, well, what should I do? And it's so complex, whatever. The first place I always go is, okay, where are you at with reviews, right? It's turnkey, it's free, and it is such a key driver right now. And and I can see them across the table or when I talk face to face. They just light up and like, wow, yeah, you're right. Holy cow! But guys, please don't a half an hour. Don't leave this call saying, yeah, I'm in, Chris, and then a half an hour from now say, you know what? I need to go clean my truck. I need to go pick this up. No, this is the single most important thing we're going to do here, right? I can't let you not do this, right? You took this big step. You did all these things. We've got this is impacting everything. This is really, really important, guys. I need you to take this seriously. I need you to make a commitment to this. So, all right, I'll stop beating that drum. I think you get where I'm coming from.
Yes.
Go to the challenge for
And-
the reviews one.
Do you want?
What we'll do is we're gonna give you guys, if everything Chris didn't say wasn't enough incentive to get reviews, we have a little bit more. So I'll let Gabriella go ahead and explain the reviews challenge.
Okay, like we said, we do have some special prizes to win. The first Ground Game Challenge is for reviews. And just to clarify here, we are talking about Google reviews. All reviews are important, but right now we're focusing specifically on Google reviews. So the first challenge is each month, and you'll see listed here, for each month you have to get 10 positive Google reviews. Each month you reach this reviews goal, you'll be entered in a raffle to win a $50 gift card. And then the second challenge is if you reach your reviews goal every month from April until October, you'll be entered in a raffle to win a grand prize, which is the Lawn Doctor branded cooler. It's really cool. I've seen it. It's awesome. It'll be great for summer barbecues and whatnot. So hopefully this motivates you guys to get out there. And don't forget to, when you get reviews, to be actively responding on those as well. Positive and negative, you're going to want to respond to. Okay.
Cool. That was good. Okay. All right, guys. So the next one I want to shift to, this one right below it for me, in terms of things that we can do, right, to sort of engage and get the ball rolling. They are en route right now. 100 lawn care signs are going to show up at every single one of your locations. These are like the campaign signs you see on the highway, on the road. I get it. Sometimes you're like, oh, that's annoying. That's this. That's whatever. These signs work. The price point, the cost per lead on these signs is completely positive. We have tested this multiple times. We've tested it using website traffic. We've tested it using tracking numbers. Don't get me wrong. You're going to put signs out, and some of them are going to disappear. That is okay. The sign's out there for 2 days, 3 days, heck, even a day. It's done its job, and that's okay. I also get it. There's some towns, they don't like them. That's okay. We need to work around that, and we can't use that as a rationalization or a reason not to do it. I mentioned it before. We are coming right into that power window, right? We get this magic, 8 to 10 week window where individuals, customers are just way, way more receptive, right? They're in this mindset. Once folks start working on the yards, they start sort of nesting, they start doing these things, and when you do them and the yard looks better and you're done, endorphins release in your brain. You're like, wow, that was great. I feel good about myself. I feel great about my home, right? Think about how many people have their identity wrapped up in their home, right? They're so proud of it. Well, this is when they're receptive. This is when they're like, I did a little bit, and if I did that, that would be cool too, right? And so we've got to get these signs out there. Now, we're sending out 100. There's a psychology to this where you get these 100 signs, you're like, oh, well, this is my supply for the year. no, this is your supply for the next 3 weeks. We got to make 33 signs go out, disappear. Signs in your trunk don't help. Signs in your, storage closet don't help, or out in your, your warehouse. We've got to put them out, right? Again, not your yearly supply. So the next thing, that feels a little awkward. I don't want to go put these signs out. People are watching me, whatever. We did a big test down here a couple years ago, and myself, Scott Frith, Dave Newman, everybody from around the office, we all took 30 signs each, and we put them out. And I'm totally with you. I'm like, this feels a little awkward. I feel like I'm going to get arrested, or someone's going to, say something or whatever. So I shifted my strategy, right? I grabbed my 16-year-old son. Okay, I'll share the shame with him, right? But anyway, we went out just after dark, right around dusk, and the two of us did it together. I would park the car, off to the side, and we'd move really, really quick. We'd pick really cool locations. He started giggling, laughing, having fun with it. And we cranked it out, and we had a great time. It was fun, right? And like I say, a little bit dark. Please be careful. Please be safe. And then please be really strategic, right? We want to look for places that make really good sense. It might look like a really good high-traffic area, but if you're buzzing by, it might not work as good. The places I love are like the exit from, my wife's away, like I just told you, so I dropped my son off at high school. It's like no one takes the bus anymore. I don't get it, but... So this is like a line of cars, and everybody's leaving the high school. Well, that exit right there, when you look straight ahead at the T intersection, that is a great spot for a sign, right? The exit from a karate studio, where you have all these, moms and dads picking their kids up, right? The exit from a dance school, the exit from a gymnastics school. Those are great spots, and they tend to be spots that are like where the sign doesn't get tossed. I did a bunch when we did the test, down here in South Jersey. I would try and hit the exit to the Walmart or the Target or whatever. Those are great spots too. Those signs tended to disappear a little faster, but that's okay. But anyway, you want to be strategic. Go ahead and do it just after dark. Get someone to help you. This way you're not trying to park the car and do everything at once. Have a little fun with it and crank it out. And most importantly, don't get run over. Again, we did this test, and we ran Google Analytics for the week, the week before and the week after, week during and week after we put the signs up. And we ran the tracking on the phone number, and we saw a dramatic spike in those zip codes, those areas where we put the signs up in website traffic and in calls out to the phone number. The signs we're sending all have a tracking phone number on them, and we'll be able to see, sort by not only the tracking phone number, use that as a tracking mechanism, but also by zip code. So a couple things. One, we'll be able to tell who put their signs out, but we'll be able to tell, how the signs performed and all that stuff. When I first, early in college, one of my first marketing classes, we had this professor, and he told this interesting story. He talked about marketing and how marketing needs to work and how you needed, a balanced marketing mix and an integrated marketing plan. And the analogy he gave, he said that, when you build a marketing campaign, think about the D-Day, the Allied, invasion, in Normandy, right? We didn't just show up and land on the beach and go kind of marching in. There was a comprehensive set of tactics and tools and things that were employed. We dropped in like the 101st Airborne 5 miles in. We had soldiers that were like behind the lines cutting communications. We went and found, where their fuel was stored, and we found where bridges that were critical for them to come and defend the beach, where they'd have to come over and blew those bridges and air cover over the beach. We bombarded that beachhead, with artillery, from the ships, for, a day. There was literally hundreds and hundreds of things that had to happen to make that campaign a success. And that's true for what we do every year as well, right? We've got pay-per-click running. We've got Nextdoor running. We've got direct mail hitting. We've got Facebook hitting. We've got display hitting. We're going to get these reviews genned up, right? And we need to get these signs out there. And this power window is exactly when these signs need to happen, right? And it needs to be 33 a week. Part of me is like, let's go put 100 out this week. I feel like I'd love that. I feel like if you put 100 out, that now we're really going to tip the scales, and someone's going to call from town and say, what the heck, get these signs out of here. We can push up to 33, I bet, easily, and not really, again, some are going to disappear, and not really trip that trigger, right? But 33 a week, and if a good one disappears, replace it. If you find a new location, put it out there. So, let's see. I monologued about signs for a little bit there. but I think you get the idea. I hope you do. Let's I guess shift over. If there's questions about that, how can I help with this? Any light I can shed on this? Just let's go ahead and talk about it.
Any questions about signs, maybe locations to put them in or anything like that that you may have for Chris right now, go ahead and feel free again to type them or just ask them. You guys are not on mute. And if not, that's okay. Of course, we'll answer any questions at any time that you guys may have them. But feel free now.
Sure. Do you want to talk about the sign challenge? Yeah,
sure. And I just want to let everybody know, like Chris said, the signs have shipped. For those of you located in Texas, they should be arriving actually today. Those of you located in Louisiana, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Missouri, they are arriving tomorrow on Saturday. And then for everyone else, you'll be getting them on Tuesday. So just be on the lookout. It's 2 boxes. 1 box is full of the signs, and then the other box is the stakes. Okay? And let's go over to the challenge for lawn signs. So you have 100 signs. You have 4 goals here. If you put out 25-yard signs, you will win a coffee tumbler with the Lawn Doctor logo on it. If you put out 50-yard signs, you will receive a $50 gift card. 75-yard signs, you get the Lawn Doctor baseball cap, and then 100-yard signs, you get a Lawn Doctor laptop backpack. I guess we just want the honor code here. Take a picture of you putting out the signs. Of course, you don't have to take 100 pictures of 100 signs, but we definitely want to see you guys out there. A good tip, always keep a couple signs in your car or your van just in case you're driving and you see a good spot, you can run out and put it down. And then another thing is just make it like a fun event with like your family or coworkers or something, and just kind of make it like an activity. Yeah. In
terms of the honor system, we're going to know if the phone rings or not, just so you guys know. Not that I don't trust anybody. I do unequivocally. This is the same thing, guys. I talked about it with reviews. When you hear me, you say these things, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. He's right. I need to do that. I need you to carry that sentiment right on through, right? I need you to carry that belief and that sentiment through the next, 3 weeks. These things, there's going to be pieces of this process where you're like, I don't love doing this, or I don't know if I want to do that. I'm going to find something else. You got to push that away, and you've got to do these things. The reviews are just so darn important, right? Imagine you put the signs out, and then you don't have great reviews, and so like, I'm going to go with this guy that has 4.9 stars and 32 reviews. I'm moving on, right? We've got to do these things, right? We've made this commitment. We're doing this. We're partners in this. I need you to do this piece. Everything has got to come together here. So we'll be watching. We'll be looking at your reviews, helping you through the way, but got to stay serious and focused on this, guys. Really, really do. These are critical. I'm not trying to just say everything's important. These are really key items.
All right, you guys. Well, this was some really good information. I will post this webinar to YouTube, so if you guys need to reference it, I'll send out that link. Keep in mind that these ground game challenges, you'll be winning the prizes. If you guys have questions about them, feel free to reach out to myself or Gabriella. We will go ahead and end the webinar now, but I appreciate everyone who did jump on. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to any of us, so we're happy to answer. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. I appreciate it.